Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at The Bee Farm, one of the first LEGO Minecraft sets to be released for 2021. I promise you that was an unintentional pun, to be released in 2021. Okay. I'm going to take a couple things out of the way because this is kind of dense. I'm going to take the figures out of the way. We'll take a look at those more closely later. I'm just going to leave the baby sheep here. This comes with 8 new bees in 2 forms, just passive and aggressive, or angry or aggro. And other than that, I mean, you've got 3 different layers of terrain, or 3 different main levels. The lowermost level has a row of a couple different colors of flowers that have been cultivated here for the bees to pollinate, and back in the back are some wheat stalks that are starting to mature. Now this is a perfect opportunity to look at one of the new bees. Each bee is built with a headlight brick. The wings are just a 1x2 clear brick. You get a printed tile in 1x1 for the front. And I've heard some negative feedback about the design of these bees. They're not really accurate to the in-universe size or scale, and I have to agree with that. I mean, in-universe, they're almost like blocks. You know, they're like smaller versions of blocks. They're very blocky. They're very square. This is much more sleek and lengthened out. But I don't know how to make that too much better without going to a 2x2 base for its size, which may look a little bit too large. I'm sure that was considered, but I'm okay with how this bee looks. It just does not look accurate. It does not look game accurate. That is to be sure. And then these are the aggro ones. So you build these exactly the same, except you put a different tile on the front, and that's pretty appropriate. You know, the difference from one to the next. And this is intended to be an angry swarm. So you can rotate this over here, and they just kind of fly around together, which is, you know, it's a cool little effect. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but I dig it. I get it. I mean, worst case scenario, just leave it static like that. It's a fine way to display them. Over here's the baby sheep, another type of flower. You got some fire just kind of on its own. I think that's intended to represent a campfire, even though it's more looking like just natural fire from a lightning striker or something. But, you know, it would make sense within the context of this set to have a campfire. I think that's not the best way to show one, though. Back there, you got some beehives, just a couple of them stacked on top of each other, and one bee is on top of that. So these are built as blocks with just a single 2x2 jumper for each, so you can easily separate them. And over here to the side is an actual bee nest, as they call them in-game. And this is able to accommodate a bee that can go in there and actually go all the way in and be completely flush with it. So yeah, it's just a little thing that you can slide in that way. You can slide it out. So it's just the exact same build as all the rest. And that's it for that one. Now, they do an interesting thing on the ground. I think, again, they're taking some creative liberties, suggesting that the honey that would drip from the base of a full bee nest, if I can get this one to go back in there we go, would collect on the ground. And this is the honey block texture. However, kind of the way that they've presented it in this set, the way that they've shown on the box art and everything, is more of a suggestion that each of these is supposed to represent a honeycomb. Again, not the best representation, and I know it's a little bit difficult for LEGO to get that right and to make these, you know, useful in their own form, but it's a nice little tile. If you don't recognize there, it's a little bit easier to see from the back. That's the cool yellow or bright yellow color. For some reason, they had these offset by just 1 stud, not 2, but I mean, I suppose you could use this as the basis for making your own custom honey block. And then there's one additional thing over here with this tree. So you saw that kind of moves around a little bit. Yeah, you actually have an extra bee inside of the tree. And again, that's just going to be whichever you choose. In this case, they suggest that you put a non-aggro version in there. But yeah, it's just basically a space for one with some studs on the side construction here with a couple of window frames to create that space. And then you just close it up here. No studs are needed to attach that. And that's that. There's a look at the back of the nest. For some reason, they have the nest directly over a flower here. It's a little bit awkward. I think it would have made a little bit more sense, again, to have a campfire if you're going to put something directly underneath it. But it is what it is. And the last thing that I didn't mention is the birch tree over here, which is just a simple, small build. With the figures here, we have officially on the left a beekeeper who is just a player with a skin on. and also has the wings. And I'm not going to pronounce the name of those wings in game because it's one of those things where there are at least 3 camps out there of the correct objective way to pronounce elytra, elytra, elytra. It doesn't matter. You know what they are. I'm not trying to get into that ridiculous online pronunciation debate. But on the right is a villager. We can agree that is a villager. The villager still has the eyes up high. The villager no longer has the forehead squiggles like before. This one has a gold or bronze zipper on the pouch there on the front, and does have the darkening of the nose. Will they ever get the eyes down lower? Doesn't look like it. That's okay. I don't mind it personally. I do like the wings. It's interesting they chose to go with the sand blue color. I think that something a little bit brighter would have been more appreciated. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. I think that's not necessarily the perfect color. Maybe even something like a trans light blue could have been kind of cool, kind of interesting. But then maybe the material wasn't available. This is a slightly softer material. It's going on to the polycarbonate attachment there. So you don't want to use two hard materials together because then they become difficult to move. Anyway, these are the figures. Let me show you one more thing. Back print. Okay, good. And fortunately, the prints on both of these figures, for what they are at least produced pretty well. By the way, who uses a golden shovel, though? I'm genuinely curious. Here are the leftover pieces, and for this reason right here, I'm actually really happy that they went with the 1x1 cross-sectional size for the bees so that we do get one extra of each of those prints, and there are no stickers in this set, of course. For this set, I paid $20 US, and I feel like I got my money's worth because, I mean, the price to part ratio is what it is. But the amount of stuff that I have here on the table in front of me feels appropriate for $20 US. Now, if you're a Minecraft player, just kind of close the loop on this. If you're a Minecraft player, or even if you are not an active player and you're aware of the source material, like, for example, looking at the bee right here on the box, you have to admit there's a bunch of stuff in this set that is objectively you can say wrong, inaccurate is not game accurate. And yeah, those can be easily seen as flaws. I personally can look past those because I'm not taking the stuff too seriously. I've barely played Minecraft in the past 6 years. I was serious about it for a relatively short amount of time. I think I've logged into Minecraft maybe once or twice since they added bees. To the main source tree and all. So I don't take it that seriously, and I see this personally more as a Lego set than as a replica Minecraft model. So that gives me a little bit of bias and allows me to see this in a more positive light. If you're looking for absolute accuracy, then I can definitely see a bunch of stuff here that is wrong. They really need to improve the villagers over time, even though I personally, again, kind of like those villagers. The more I think about it, these wings, which actually, JANG, there is a single correct, because it's based on elytron for the non-aero effective chitinous coverings from which wings sprout for flight in the likes of bugs and beetles. Therefore, the correct name is, and there is only one, it is elytra. Okay, yeah. Like I said, I don't care about the pronunciation myself. So I'm calling them wings. And the more I think about it, the more I think that they should have gone with a trans, like a frosted light blue. Because I think this same material, I think they have a compatible material to this. And I think the texture is just ever so slightly rough. So it would have come out a little bit frosted. I think that would have been cool. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. I would expect some folks to be perfectly happy, perfectly satisfied with the sand blue color there. Maybe they'll come out with different colors in the future as well. Maybe some enchanted ones. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, I like this as a parts pack. I like all the stuff, how much stuff is packed together here. And I'll be taking some of these components and spreading them out into my own little custom, or at least semi-custom, mostly custom Minecraft display at some point, and I'll enjoy it. So there you go. Yeah, overall, pretty happy with this myself. Understand how some folks would not be. Completely understand. I did a build video for this, so you can see it in real time, or you can see it sped up as a time lapse. Check out one of those if you'd like to, and I'll keep bringing you more reviews right here, and talk to you again soon.